Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson, BamaInsider.com. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. We got a lot to cover. I'll take your calls tonight, 205-686-3604. Let me know where you're coming from in the comment box. Tuesday night, we talk recruiting. Wednesday night, we talk team. So eager to be here and take your team questions. Alabama will hold a scrimmage this Saturday, so look for complete coverage back at BamaInsider.com. Man, now that we've had a chance to see or at least some of the freshmen, I'm really impressed with what these younger guys are starting to do. And then, of course, you have the vets, and then, of course, you have the offense, who is, they just return so much talent. So I'm going to actually provide a freshman report to start off the show. I want to go over a message from Ali Cajo. I want to pipe in some Nick Saban. Then I want to take your calls at 205-686-3604. Thank you for joining me tonight. Real quick, here's our Super Chat Hall of Honor. And, of course, all Super Chats go to your host tonight, Kyle Henderson. So there we are on the left, Tony Hill, Randall Williams, certainly our top contributors, along with the box seats, bombs, always driving bombs, and then field level, Paul Robinson and Ramajama. So thank you so much. Of course, you got the upper deck and the tailgate crew. And then, of course, you can always hit the join button at the bottom of this video to join the Touchdown Club or the Loyalty Club. How about Alabama being ranked number 1 now in the Rivals.com recruiting rankings? That was pretty cool. If you haven't seen Andrew Bone's video from last night, there's a lot of information in there, as you know. So I'll put the link in the description box, but definitely check out our recruiting coverage because Andrew Bone definitely been on top of it. And it looks like Tim Keenan could join this class. So he's committing on Saturday at 10 a.m. Before we get to that freshman report, how about this message by Ali Cajo? I really appreciated what he said and the message that he had to say on social media. And this is what he says just a couple days ago. If you want to be the best version of yourself as a player, play for Saban. He is the greatest, and I'm going to leave it at that. Believed in me when a lot of people gave up on me. Respect and love the GOAT. And I think about when Nick Saban, sees these type of messages. And I think, he knows what he's providing for these players, but to see it reflect on these players and to hear the gratitude and to see these young men grow to where they're going to become, I think is all part of it. Trust the process, and that's a part of it. I'll take your calls in just a minute. I'm going to go through this freshman report real quick, but Ali Cajo with a strong message, and I think a lot of people will emulate that have played for Nick Saban. And I think that's why this particular recruiting class, unlike any other year, is really depending on that Bama factor, because you haven't been able to go outside to visit these recruits. The coaches haven't been able to really get to these recruits. The recruits haven't been able to come to Alabama during the springtime. Summer camps were closed. Alabama still can't have any visitors. Of course, you can just come on your own dime, but for the Bama factor, with all the new facilities and what Nick Saban's done at Alabama, I think it just speaks for itself. Nick Saban talked a lot about player development, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But I wanted to highlight kind of the freshman report and talk about a lot of these freshmen and what these freshmen have been doing at Alabama so far, as Alabama has had now, believe it is, let's see, today I think was their 6th practice of the fall training camp. So on the screen, these are the freshmen that I've heard great things about. Okay, so no particular order. Maybe I'll put like a top freshman list at some point, but I'll start at the top. You got Javon Baker, wide receiver, 6'2", 195 pounds. From what I've heard, it sounds like he's second best wide receiver, the third best wide receiver on this team. You got, of course, Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, but it looks like Javon Baker's certainly making strides and showing out as a freshman. Of course, you got John Mechie, who I feel is going to be very capable this year as well. Bryce Young, as a freshman coming in, how can you not be, surprised with what he's done just to Alabama? Of course, you got Mac Jones, but I think Bryce Young, as soon as he really hones in on who he's going to be and that playbook becomes second nature, he's going to be an absolute baller and the player that we expect him to be. Malachi Moore is a defensive back. You saw him on social media just the other night with a booming hit. One guy I'm curious to see if he can get on the field as a true freshman. And you think, you hear that freshmen can't play at Alabama, but of course, you continue to see these guys rise up. So Malachi Moore is a guy who I think will get onto the field this year. Brian Branch, continue to hear great things about him, working at that star and safety position, 6 foot, 190 pounds. I can't wait to see him in action on Saturday. I think he could potentially be a guy that starts later on in the season. I think he's that good. what I've heard on Roydell Williams, I hear he's the fourth best running back on the team right now. So think about this. You have Najee Harris, Brian Robinson, Trey Sanders, and then you have Roydell Williams, in-state guy as a freshman. So watch for Roydell Williams to, if not make a splash this year, could make a splash next year. And I hear he's very similar to Trey Sanders. Of course, Trey Sanders, I put him on the list because he's a redshirt freshman. And from what I gather, I mean, let's put it this way. If Najee Harris was to exit the program right now, a lot of people feel that Trey Sanders could be the starter on this team. That's how good he is. Nick Saban had a lot of positive things to say about Trey Sanders recently. I'll pipe that in just a minute. William Anderson, you've seen the updates all over. And I mean, 6'4", 235 pounds, right behind Chris Allen at the outside linebacker position, certainly doing a great job. Another guy who you just, we haven't been able to get on campus because of all, this stuff that's going on. But William Anderson, and certainly the photos that we've seen and kind of some small footage, looks the part. Javon Cohen, offensive lineman, probably working at guard, I would assume. 6 foot, 325 pounds, looks like a monster of a man. And then Damian George, another monster, right? 6'6", 345 pounds. So those are some of the younger offensive linemen that look to be standing out early on. And then you got Ismail Sopsher, another freshman at Alabama, redshirt freshman at 6'4", 334 pounds. So those are some of the freshmen. And I just wanted to kind of bring that to you because I know I got a lot of questions about the freshmen. And, if you have any questions, you can pipe them in the comment box and I'll definitely get those answered to you. Derek, so what's the occasion, man? You know what? Just like you and your avatar, man, you dress to impress, right? I do this for a living. This isn't something I do on the side. I mean, I'm bringing it. I try to emulate the highest game because I know you deserve a quality product. So definitely want to bring that to you. So you'll get accustomed to seeing me all dressed up and buttoned up for the show. This is another good question. You can post your comments too in the comment box, and then I'll take some questions as well. I think this is a great question right here. Why isn't Paul Tyson getting any love? That's a great question. I think he's a guy, and from what I hear, he's right there. I mean, you're talking about a guy who is 6'5", 225 pounds. Obviously, he's worked on a lot of his arm strength. I think I have some B-roll of the quarterbacks that I'll just roll while I talk about Paul Tyson. I really like the guy. And I think that, people are sleeping on him. Sometimes that's good. It keeps guys working hard, right? I mean, you have Mac Jones, you have Bryce Young, but nobody's really talking about Paul Tyson. I think they should. I think they should absolutely know about Paul Tyson and just the quarterback that he is, the quarterback that he's progressed to be. I know Steve Sarkisian had some great things to say about him recently. Of course, everybody wants, the flashy 5-star, and rightfully so. Bryce Young is going to get his. But don't sleep on Paul Tyson, I'm telling you, because I think all these quarterbacks are going to get used this year. You know what's going on around the country, and it's just a matter of time until one of these quarterbacks really has to step up. So don't sleep on Paul Tyson. I'm telling you, heard some really good things about him as we continue. Super chat in from Bombs. Thank you so much, Bombs. I mean, you don't know how much we appreciate your contributions on daily. I mean, you're always there, one of our biggest supporters, if not our biggest supporter. So thank you so much, Bombs. We sincerely appreciate it. Ronnie saying, don't sleep on Drew Sanders. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, when you look at the outside linebacker position, you have Ben Davis and you have Chris Allen. Those are the vets returning. But behind those guys, who's it going to be? Who's going to step up and really contribute? It could be a guy like King Nkuda. It could be a guy like Kevin Harris. Those are a couple sophomores that we really haven't talked about. But behind those guys, you got William Anderson, Drew Sanders, and a lot of those guys will probably get playing time this year. So let me get to this Saban clip real quick. He talked about development and some install. And I think when you watch Saban's press conference, I want you to do this next time you watch it. Make sure and just internalize that first part of Saban's press conference, because I think he divulges a lot of information. So when you watch it, go back and watch the opening statement, because he says a lot about the program, kind of where things are. And, Saban's, way up top IQ wise. So he gives you clues without saying too much. But here's Nick Saban from just the other night during his second press conference of fall training camp.
So we've had a lot of heavy installation so far on the field. This is very challenging to young players. But I think that the 10-day, well, we had 10 days, we used 10 days where we could have sort of a mini camp type of, atmosphere where we had 6 hours a week on the field, 6 hours in meetings. I think those walkthroughs were very beneficial in helping the young players, understand. I think all the Zoom calls that we had, helped them gain an understanding. So they're picking it up on the field a little quicker and with a little better understanding than maybe what they normally would, because we've had so many so-called chalk talks, walkthroughs, those types of things that I think have really enhanced their development.
All right, so there you go. Saban talking about a lot of install right now, which makes sense. I mean, they just started practice last week, so this is their second week of fall training camp. And like I said, they will have a scrimmage on Saturday. I would assume that's at Bryant-Denny Stadium. That will be the first time anyone really gets into Bryant-Denny Stadium, as you know, with everything that's going down in the country. Hey, thank you, Mr. Jefferson. I really appreciate it. All the super chats tonight go to your host, so really means a lot that you guys would super chat my way. It means a lot. Obviously, I dressed up for the occasion, right? Let me go through a couple more comments, and then I'll take your calls right here at actually, let's go ahead and get the party started. I'll take this call right here. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, man, this is Kyle Cruz. I am from Hoboken, Georgia.
All right. I'm sorry. I missed your first name.
Kyle Cruz, K-Y-L-E, Kyle.
Hey,
like you, Kyle.
That's a good name, right? What's up, Kyle? Thank you so much for thanks for calling in. It's your show. Take it away.
Yeah, man. I'm just excited that we're going to get some Alabama football this year. I think the defense and offense, they're going to bring in some good players. I'm really excited about this year. The first game being at Missouri, I'm really digging it. I just want to get vengeance on Auburn this year, man. We're gonna show Bo Nix what's up.
Kyle, when we look at the schedule, and I think I got the schedule here. I'll pull it up on the screen so everybody can look at it. When you look at the schedule for the 2020 season, you got Missouri, you got Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia. Let's just look at those first 4 games. You got to, I would assume that they're going to be a 4-touchdown favorite against Missouri. Texas A&M, Nick Saban's done well against Jimbo. The wild card for me is Ole Miss, because it's at Ole Miss, and you got Lane Kiffin, and you got Georgia, Kirby Smart. I mean, those are some interesting games to start of the season. Just with those 4 games, what's your take on that front 4?
Missouri, they got a fresh head coach, so I'm not going to diss. I don't doubt any opponent that we play. But I think Missouri is going to be a win. A&M is going to be a win. Ole Miss, you give Lane Kiffin a few years, because Lane Kiffin was on the staff at Alabama for a long time. You give Ole Miss a few years, they're going to be top notch. I mean, hey, just like with Kirby Smart with Georgia, he's getting there. He's getting top notch. Georgia's going to be in the playoff. We'll probably be facing them in the SEC championship again this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it being SEC all year.
Me too. I think because in the past, I mean, let's face it. I mean, you're going to find this funny, Kyle, and I don't know if you followed the channel for a long time, but I went to New Mexico State University, and they came up to play Alabama. And, it's like some of those games are comical that they're playing. And I get it. You got to break up the schedule. But this year, I mean, even that game against Missouri, I mean, that's interesting. So you look through the entire schedule. It's an interesting game week after week after week. So I know that, the SEC and ESPN are going to, try to make as much money as possible off this, because the ratings should just be phenomenal. I mean, they should have a TV down at the scrimmage this Saturday.
Man, I can't wait. I'm so excited. And like I said, man, the first game being away at Missouri is really going to set the tone for these guys. And it's going to set the tone for Mac Jones. And Mac Jones done a great job last year. I'm excited to see him play again. Even though, hey, everybody downs him. Yes, he did have 2 turnovers there in the Auburn game, but you can't diss the man. I mean, he went 3-1. When Tua got hurt last year.
So obviously you have a lot of confidence in Mac Jones. So do I. I think there's kind of a camp that doesn't have confidence in him. But I think he can get the job done this year. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. I mean, just from what I've seen from him, and just what's been posted and what I've seen during the fall camp, what Coach Saban's calling it. Man, I'm seeing great progress, and I'm excited to see Bryce Young. I know we'll see him this year. I know we're going to see Paul Tyson this year. Like you said earlier in the show, the DBs are stacked. Man, it's going to be a great year. I can't wait. September the 26th kickoff. I'm ready to go.
Hey, well, thank you so much for calling in tonight, Kyle, and getting the show started. Please call again next time, and thank you very much. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
All right. Appreciate it, Kyle.
Take it easy, buddy. All right. Call line is open. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. First caller tonight, Kyle from Georgia. I like the name, right? Kyle. Be sure right now to hit the thumbs up button. That really helps our channel grow and get out to other Alabama Crimson Tide football fans. I know you guys have options out there when it comes to your coverage, but it means a lot that you would be with us tonight watching our show on the Alabama Crimson Tide football team. I wanted to talk real quick. We got a super chat. What's up, Kason? I see you, man. We currently, how the footage works, and the footage is referred to as B-roll kind of in our industry. We're only getting it from the University of Alabama. In the past, when we were allowed to go to practices, we were able to shoot whatever we wanted. So I'd break it up by position, running backs, offensive linemen, and really get a lot of these freshmen. This year, they're not allowing any media at practice. So we have to rely on our sources close to the program to get the information that you want, right? That's what I call team nuggets. What I've heard on William Anderson looks like an absolute beast, repping with the second team right behind Chris Allen. Don't have any footage of him yet. I do have a photo of him. I've posted that on BamaInsider.com. It looks shredded. I mean, you're looking at a guy 6'4", 235 pounds. So as I talked about on this freshman report, I mean, these are the guys who are certainly kind of jumping off early on. No particular order, just the guys that, freshmen. And I mixed in Trey Sanders and Sopsher because those guys are redshirt freshmen. But as you can see, William Anderson certainly makes a cut. And from what I heard, Drew Sanders is also doing well. I just think that, William Anderson way out in front of those guys. So that's kind of where things are in terms of William Anderson. But I certainly think a lot of these outside linebackers are going to get an opportunity this year to play. Actually, I have some sound of Nick Saban talking about the outside linebackers.
Yeah, I'm impressed with all the young players that we have. I think all four of those guys have shown some promise, in what they can do. I think a couple of them probably are going to add depth to our team. I think they have some pass rush ability. They're high-effort guys. They're really good athletes. So a couple of those guys are going to be able to contribute to the team. I don't know for sure which ones yet. There's, still a work in progress in terms of the evaluation, but I'm encouraged by that group.
So, I mean, reading between the lines, I think, what Saban is saying, I mean, they've just had a couple of days of in pads. So I think, they really have to see who can rise up. And a great time to rise up is this Saturday during the scrimmage. So maybe we'll see more from William Anderson or Drew Sanders or some of these other freshman linebackers because they're certainly very talented. I'm curious about King Makuta, Kevin Harrison, guys that we really haven't talked about. And also Ben Davis and Chris Allen. Those are the vets leading this team. So we got another call coming in. We'll take it. Hey, how's it going? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Where are you calling in from and who I'm on the line with?
Yes, hello, Kyle. This is Jarvis. I'm calling you from Fort Worth, Texas.
All right, Jarvis from Texas. What's going on, buddy? Take it away. It's your show.
Just wanted to say, first of all, I love the show. Love the content lately. Really, I just wanted to give a shout out for this recruiting class. I mean, I'm real big in recruiting, and I've seen the jump from 55, 70 to number one, and just want to say what an incredible job it's been.
Yeah, and just as I said earlier on the show, I think this particular year has been a year that Alabama has been able to rely heavily on the Bama factor, right? With Nick Saban not being able to go visit recruits, with recruits not being able to visit Tuscaloosa. I mean, they've really been able to flex on, just the tradition, the coaching, and really the program speaks for itself. I mean, I think about this, and we're on the line with Jarvis from Texas. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. When Tommy Brockemeyer and James Brockemeyer committed to Alabama, I was scrolling through Orange Bloods, our sister site, that covers the Longhorns, and a poster said it best. They were like, Texas is selling what could be, and Alabama is selling what is. And I've said that before, but think about that. I mean, Alabama is the pinnacle of college football. You tack on Nick Saban, you tack on these new facilities. I mean, they're at the pinnacle. I know that, they're not the reigning champ, but I mean, coming this year, this team is locked, loaded, hungry, and still at the forefront of the college football spectrum.
No, I mean, I couldn't agree more. And like you said, it's the brand selling itself. And I really love the attitude of the players. I mean, they seem like they really wanted to bring Alabama back to the top. And even given Nick Saban's age, he's still cooking with grease. So, I mean, I love to see it. And I think the dynasty is about to get another run for Nick.
Yeah, I think so too. And this will be a great year. Granted, we can play through this season. If Alabama can go and bury through the SEC and win an SEC championship and then play however they're going to do this Frankenstein college football playoff, which is confusing anyways. It's confusing, not even with this year. It doesn't matter. You got to get the 4 best teams in. I certainly think this team has a talent on the offensive side of the ball. And I think one of the factors that's really important to remember as we push forward is the offensive and defensive continuity coaching wise that this team has. Remember, they only added Freddie Roach to this coaching staff. I mean, that's something that we haven't seen in quite some time because every single year it seems like Alabama loses their OC, their DC, and many other coaches. But think about that as we go forward, the offensive and defensive coaching continuity. I think that'll be very important going forward.
I mean, couldn't have said it better. And I think it's crazy how Nick Saban just continues to click on all cylinders. I mean, on and off the field. I mean, I think it's been a fantastic job he's done since he's come to Tuscaloosa. I mean, it's the greatest run, we'll see maybe ever. And it's just a great time to be an Alabama fan, for the next foreseeable future, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely, Jarvis. And while we got you, Baum said it best right here on the comment box. I mean, if you're in Texas or Louisiana, our prayers are out with you guys. Big storm coming that way. So everybody, please be safe. Our prayers are, with the states to the west of us. So, the storm's obviously coming. So please be safe. And everyone in that area, definitely in our prayers. So anything else, Jarvis, while we got you on the line, buddy?
Definitely. I appreciate that. Fortunately, I'm in the northern part of Texas, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on that. But the only thing I wanted to say, too, is just I am loving the all-SEC schedule. I mean, for once, they can't say anything about who we have played and who we haven't played, and it's just going to be, like you said, week in and week out. I mean, it's going to be a battle for the SEC, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, thank you so much for calling in, Jarvis. Please call again, and please have a great rest of your week, okay?
All right, thanks, Kyle.
All right, take it easy. All right, that was Jarvis calling in from Texas, and Baum said it best. If you're in that area, definitely, we'll be praying for you guys in that area. And I think when you look at that SEC schedule, it's something to certainly be excited about, just because every single week it's going to be exciting. This past week, I had an opportunity to ask Nick Saban about the running backs, just because you have Najee, you have B-Rob, you have Trey Sanders, some of those other younger guys cutting their teeth. I'm sure you guys saw the video right here on YouTube, but I'm going to play that sound of Nick Saban talking about the running backs, in my opinion, the best running back room in the country.
Trey Sanders has done extremely well. The young guys have done really, really well. I see them all contributing. And I think those guys can all have a role on our team. That's an area of our team that I really like, the depth. I like the experience that we have with 2 seniors. And then there's some young guys that have some, really, really good ability to contribute. And these guys are all really good special teams players.
All right, so there you go. Nick Saban talking about those very talented running backs. Of course, some of those younger guys will be used on special teams. What's up, John? I see your questions. You've been posting a lot in the comment box, which I appreciate. We'll take this call real quick, and then I'll get to your question.
Call from.
Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Are you there?
Gang.
I'm sorry? All right. Looks like we had a bad connection there. Hey, John. So I really haven't heard anything on Tim Smith and Jameer and Lathan. There's a couple other guys, I just haven't been able to get information on some of these other freshmen. So in my freshman report that I posted earlier on the show, and if you're just joining us, I'll show that graphic again. It doesn't mean that these guys aren't doing well. It just means that I don't really have information on those guys just quite yet. These are the freshmen that I've heard positive things about early on. And of course, things are changing, right? I mean, these guys, are just getting to practice. I mean, they just had their 6th practice. So I'll have more information going forward. So I think, in regards to these other freshmen that you might not be hearing about, maybe just give them time and let them come around. So that's what I got on you. If you have questions as well, you can post them in the comment box and I'll get to you, as soon as I can. Call-in number is 205-686-3604. That's the call-in line number. And, you can also be a part of BamaInsider.com in many different ways. So, definitely check us out, whether that's on our Instagram or social media posts. So there's a lot of different ways to connect with BamaInsider.com. Let's see. We got another question coming in. Let me get this graphic out of the way for you guys. All right. What's up, Prone Raider? Kyle, I want to say this. For anybody who thinks Bryce Young will start over Mac Jones, they're thinking they're far ahead and expecting too much. Mac Jones will start and Bryce will have to earn. Yeah, absolutely. I think and I'm in that camp with you. I can't, it's hard to believe that a lot of people aren't happy that Mac Jones is coming back this season. There's not many, but if there's some, get out of here. This guy is the most experienced quarterback by far. I think he's played in over 26 games. And, with the offense that he has around him, it's going to be hard for him not to be successful, right? You look at all the talent and all the, components that he has. He has Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, John Mechie, Javon Baker, Najee Harris. He's got an experienced offensive line. Alex Leatherwood at the tackle position, Evan Neal at the other tackle position, Landon Dickerson, Deontay Brown. Your center probably going to be Chris Owens. Your tight end Miller Forstall. All those guys are veterans coming back. So how can Mac Jones not be successful? And I think Bryce Young is going to get his. I think Paul Tyson is going to get his. But like you say, I think that this job has been earned by Mac Jones, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think he's going to do a fine job for Alabama this coming season. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. If you do me a favor real quick and hit that thumbs up button, that really means a lot. I know there's, if you're not going to super chat, that's cool. But subscribing and hitting the thumbs up certainly helps our cause. And if you're new to kind of like the super chats and kind of wondering what they are, inside the comment box, you can hit that $ button. And this is on YouTube. And you can, super chat is basically like a tip for the host. That's what it is. So definitely hit that up. All right, let's see. And you can post your questions inside the comment box, and I'll get to them as well. But the call line is certainly open, 205-686-3604. Trey Sanders, guy must be huge when coach doesn't mention Najee and others ahead of him. Actually, Kevin, I cut it out because the way I asked the question, I asked him about Najee and B-Rob. So he did talk about those guys first, and then he spoke about Trey Sanders. So that has more to do with how I cut the actual video in terms of what Saban is. But Saban talked about Najee and B-Rob first and had a ton of things to say about Brian Robinson. And I actually think I have some sound from Steve Sarkisian talking about the offensive line that I wanted to play, because just as I mentioned earlier, Mac Jones has so much talent around him with the offensive line. I think it's, I keep on saying it's the best running back room in America. It's the best wide receiver unit in America. This is how good the offense is. So here's Steve Sarkisian talking about what I feel is the best offensive line group in America.
Well, we obviously have an abundance of experience up front. When you start talking about Deontay Brown, Landon Dickerson, Alex Leatherwood, Chris Owens, Evan Neal, those guys have played a lot of football. And I think one of the things that comes out of it is the communication factor. Those guys can communicate really well with one another up front. I think, too, their communication to us as coaches, they've seen a lot of football. They know some of the issues the defense is presenting, and so making the proper adjustments that way.
So there's Steve Sarkisian talking about the offensive line. Landon Dickerson, certainly, got to watch. Alex Leatherwood, who we got to hear speak today, very intelligent young man, returning for his senior season. Evan Neal will move from that guard position to the tackle position. We got a chance to see a a short clip of Brian Branch today. If you want to watch highlights, go to our YouTube channel or Bama Insider and look for our recent highlight package. Here's Brian Branch. This guy, I think, is going to be phenomenal. I've heard that this is a freshman, by the way, at Alabama. Yeah, I'll play it again. I've heard great things about him working at the star position with the safeties. I think he's going to be able to play. I just talked about him on a freshman report. And I think I might put a package together just talking about the freshmen and some of these guys who have stood out. So definitely watch for Brian Branch because I think he's going to be a guy who has a big year. Let me check in the comment box to see what else is going on. And let's see. I think this is a question from Kaysen. What is the tight end position looking like? Alabama hasn't had a stud tight end since OJ. Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, we talk about all these other positions and don't really talk about the tight ends much. So what Alabama has in terms of tight ends, you have Miller Forrestall, who's a veteran who returns with a lot of experience. He's dealt with a couple nagging injuries, but he's very good, very dependable. I think he's a great blocker downfield. You have Major Tennyson, who's also used up as a blocking tight end. You have Jahlil Billingsley, and I think Jahlil Billingsley could be a hybrid tight end wide receiver. I think that might be a nugget that I'm not supposed to give to you guys, like, in the public. That's usually what I put on the premium message board. But watch for Jahlil Billingsley to be a guy that Alabama is able to utilize. And then this guy right here, Cameron Latou, hearing great things about Cameron Latou, 6'5", 247 pounds. Remember, he came to Alabama as an outside linebacker, and now he's with the tight ends. And usually Nick Saban does a lot of experimenting during this time, but it looks like he could be staying at that tight end position, and that could be surprising. Just here's some footage right here of him as an outside linebacker, as a freshman. So to see him transition from outside linebacker to tight end, I think tells you a lot about his athleticism, because you don't see too many guys at Alabama go both ways or switch. Very few. And it looks like he's going to be one staying at that tight end position. So I hope that answers your question regarding the tight ends. So thank you very much, Kaysen, for the super chat earlier and for the question. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. Thank you for joining me tonight on the show. Tuesdays, we talk recruiting. Wednesdays, we talk team. We'll also have tons of coverage back at BamaInsider.com. And as I always tell everybody, you don't have to wait till Tuesday or Wednesday to, come on and get all this information. You can get all the information back at BamaInsider.com. If you're not a member of BamaInsider.com, here's how to get free 30 days. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. This is how to get free 30 days on BamaInsider.com. First thing you got to do, go to BamaInsider.com and click on the top banner. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to create an account, email, username, password. The second thing you're going to do is confirm your subscription. Make sure that the promo code is entered right here. It says promo successful, roll tide. The third thing you're going to do is enter your credit card information. It has to be valid, and don't worry, you're going to get that 30 days free. As you can see, once you've added a credit card, you're going to get the promo code. As you can see right here, it says $0. After that, you got to make sure and cancel within that 30 days if you don't want to be charged that $9.95. But hopefully, you're happy with all the coverage on BamaInsider.com, so you won't need to cancel. Once you're a premium subscriber of BamaInsider.com, you can access Andrew Bones' recruiting board. You can jump on the Talk of Champions message board and have a great time with thousands of Alabama Crimson Tide football fans. We hope to earn your business at BamaInsider.com. All right, Kevin, I was scrolling through the comment box. So Kelvin Carter has a great point. Can Slade Bolden be our third guy at wide receiver? Absolutely. He's one guy that I didn't talk about early on when I was talking about the wide receivers, but yeah, he certainly is a guy that you need to know and a guy that can contribute this year. So I think when you look at the wide receiver room, obviously the upperclassmen shine, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, but guys like Slade Bolden, Xavier Williams, John Mechie, as I mentioned earlier, Javon Baker. I mean, think about all that talent in that room. So yeah, Slade Bolden, and from some of the footage that I've seen early on, Slade Bolden is definitely getting the football, very dependable. I know you even ran some scout team quarterback. I think in high school, he was the Gatorade Player of the Year playing quarterback. So yeah, absolutely stud athlete. Derek's asking, who's our kicker? Well, and I saw a couple people answered on the message board. So you have Joseph Bulovas, who's returning. I think a lot of people forget that he's returning for this season. But the kicker will probably be Will Reichard. And Will Reichard played in 5 games last season. He had a hip flexor injury, which was unfortunate. So he's going to be a sophomore this season, and he can kick, he can punt, he can do kickoffs. So Alabama certainly needs a kicker and a dependable kicker, right? I think when you look overall, that's been something that Alabama really, it's kind of been the chink in the armor, right? So Will Reichert is kind of that guy that everybody hopes that he could be kind of that saving grace. So he'll be a sophomore this year. Punter, you look at maybe Ty Perrine, who was a walk-on last year. So they do have some guys. I'm just not sure who's going to be at kicker, but I would assume, like everyone else said it here in the comment box, that it's going to be Will Reichert. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. All right. Kevin, what's up? Thank you very much. Dabo Swinney or Saban? Dabo seems to have a more personal approach to his team. I don't know. I mean, I don't know too much about Dabo Swinney. You know, I cover Alabama. But I will say this, and to that point, I think those guys obviously about mentorship, and coaching is about mentorship. But I put this out today, and I talked about this earlier in the show, and let me take down your comment. This was posted by Ali Cajo, a guy who is really trying to get onto the field this year at the inside linebacker. I know he had a small injury to start the year. So you're looking at a guy who put this out, and this was just a couple days ago. If you want to be the best version of yourself, play for Saban. He's the greatest, and I'm going to leave it at that. Believe me when I say a lot of people gave up on me, respect and love the GOAT. So, I mean, you're seeing players certainly emulate kind of that process and appreciate what Nick Saban is doing for them. And I think all these coaches at this level are going to do the same thing. But, you know, being able to be mentored by Nick Saban, I think says a lot. And I think it goes a long way. And, you know, even for me, you want to, oh, here we go. Good show, Kyle. I liked and subscribed. Thank you so much, Kyle. Certainly appreciate it. Remember, all the super chats tonight go to myself, Kyle Henderson. So on Tuesdays, I'll go to Bone. Wednesdays, my show. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And just as I was saying, here's kind of a pro tip, okay? One of the ways I'm always trying to get better. I know I can work on a lot of things to do a better job, to deliver better content for you. Of course, you know, in my personal life, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I got 2 kids. We'll take this call in just a minute. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Please hold. We'll be right with you. As I was saying, one of the tips and tricks for me is reading this book right here. All right. Let me see. Get it up right here. It's Nick Saban's book, How Good You Want to Be. Right. And I have a ton of chapters marked off, and I have a ton of writing. And if you're kind of if you like to be motivated and you like to, you know, get in the right mindset, I think that's a great book for you. It's not sponsored by any means. It's just, I like books that provide mental stimulation. And this book really, you know, kind of provides insight to Nick Saban and just how good you want to be, because I think we all want to be the best, or we could be the best version of ourselves. And I think when you compare Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban, those guys obviously have different attributes. You know, Nick Saban, 68 years old, Dabo Swinney, much younger. But I think Nick Saban's overall approach is still very effective. And I think certainly this year, you're seeing that with Alabama be, you know, so talented and, you know, just what they've been able to do. So let's get our caller back, and we'll try to get him in.
Hello.
Hey, this is Kyle Henderson. Sorry about that. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Jarvis from Buffalo, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Jarvis? Hey, could you turn down the audio in the background, please?
Okay, hold on for a second.
All right, so I got to give you why Jarvis gets set up. I mean, he's one of our top callers. So he calls in, and during the season, I have a lot of regular callers. So what Jarvis brings to the table is he loves to break down film. He has a really good eye for schematics. So every time he calls, get ready, because it's going to be a good one. So Jarvis, what's up, man? How's you ready for Bills Mafia, man?
Yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm ready, man. You know, it's funny because I actually talked to Levi Wallace not that long ago at the Anchor Bar, and try to get his feedback on Alabama this season, man. He's loving it, man. So yeah, it was really good catching up with him. But man, talk about some Alabama football real quick. Just got a couple questions I wanted to ask. Number one, I just wanted to ask, how confident are you feeling about the outside linebacking position? I know that we talked about this a little bit earlier, and that was a little bit of a concern. But you know, just hearing some things about Will Anderson and some of these other players at the outside linebacker position, Chris Allen and Davis. You know, how's the confidence level that we can replicate that or even become better, as far as the production at the outside linebacking position, especially for Freddie Jennings and Terrell Lewis being out. And my second question is about that slot receiving position. Not the slot receiving position, but the other players going to be playing out wide. I think Jalen Waddle's going to be the scat receiver playing a little bit in the slot. And so my other question is that who's going to be stepping up at that outside receiving position?
All right, so we'll start with the outside linebackers, and surprise, surprise, it could be Ben Davis. It looks like could be finally his year as a senior where he really rises up and takes over that position. Alabama's certainly going to give him that opportunity to earn that position and to keep that position for, the 2020 season. I mean, this is a guy who came in as a 5-star and really hasn't got on the field. I think he got on the field a couple times last year, but this could finally be his time to really shine. You also have at the outside linebacker position number 4 right here, Chris Allen. This is a guy who dealt with some injuries, but he's back and he has a lot of experience. So if you pair Chris Allen and Ben Davis, those are really your veterans at the outside linebacker position. And I think a lot is going to depend on Sal Sinceri, and he does a fantastic job working with these young men. I know we've been talking about Will Anderson. I know we've been talking about Drew Sanders, but I think you also have to remember that within that outside linebacking core, you're also going to have guys like I'm looking for the footage right here. You're also going to have guys like King Makuta. He's number 30. You're also going to have Jerez Parks, number 23. You're also going to have Kevin Harris. So there's guys in the mix. And I know everybody just wants these freshmen to jump up and to be instant starters. But there's guys on the team that can certainly, make their way at the outside linebacker position. I think it's an area that needs to improve. It's an area of concern going into this season. And we'll just have to see, what's going to happen. I think when we look at who's going to be that slot receiver, I think today Alabama shared an image and they were twins to the left and they had Jalen Waddle on the inside and Devontae Smith on the outside. I think the main thing is get Jalen Waddle the football as many times as possible, right? The more touches that Jalen Waddle gets, the better. Check this out. During Michigan, if you look at that game against Michigan in the Citrus Bowl, he only touched the football twice. Look what he did against Auburn. Right. This is the type of football player that you have. He was the 4th best option. Steve Sarkisian said that. Jalen Waddle said that. And I get it. Jalen, you had Jerry Jeudy. You had Henry Ruggs. You have Devontae Smith. You have Jalen Waddle. I know. Tough problem to have. Right. But this year, being able to get him the football, be more creative in getting him the football. I mean, this is a guy who needs the football 8 to 12 times, maybe more than that per game. I don't know how they're going to use him special teams wise. Maybe if they put him as a punt returner, people they're not going to punt to him, which gives Alabama a better field position. But I think when you look at a slot, absolutely it's going to be Jalen Waddle and someone who's going to be very difficult to match up with.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. It's just one of the things that I think I'm excited about was that just talking about the outside linebacker just real quick is really the rotation. Right, you look at the last 3 to 4 years, ever since 2016 came, we don't have any fresh bodies at the outside linebacker position. There's only 2 guys there that are primarily good pass rushers, but if one of those guys goes down, then it becomes a weakness for our squad. So I'm excited because even though we don't have that clear-cut guy yet, the fact that we have a lot of fresh bodies and a lot of guys that have a lot of playing experience that knows the defense, especially under Pete Golding now. That's what I'm just super excited about is the rotation, that we can do 2-3 guys deep and keep that rotation fresh for our players. As far as the receiving position, Jalen Waddle, he's got to get the ball in his hands. I mean, if you look at, it's actually crazy because there's one game where he goes off and he's targeted like 7-8 times, and there's the other game where he's targeted like once or twice. And like you said before, I understand that you got Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, all of these first round receivers. But you see the impact that Jalen Waddle has, that he can completely turn a game if he can go off. And, the fact that he wasn't really that included into the offense, especially he was less productive his sophomore season compared to his freshman season as far as him as a receiver. Hopefully we can, I expect to see those numbers definitely improve for this year.
Yeah, and like I said, these wide receivers, you're looking at John Mechie right here, a guy who was an A-Day MVP not too long ago. You also have Slade Bolden. So it's really an embarrassment of riches at Alabama at every single position. But, plain and simple, Jalen Waddle needs the football. He needs it a lot. I feel that he's the best player in all of college football returning. I know some would say Devontae Smith, right? Pick your poison. But I just think Jalen Waddle certainly brings so much to the table. Got to get him the football. What else you got, Jarek?
Man, I want to talk about Javon Baker, man. I'm hearing a lot of good stuff from him. Hearing a lot of good stuff that right now he might actually look like the third best receiver on the team. Looks like he's unguardable. I've seen his tape during when he was in Atlanta, and one of the things that were very impressive to me was his release. And I compare him to Amari Cooper because one thing Amari Cooper did better than probably most of the Alabama receivers in the Nick Saban era was his release. His release with a combination of his route running was something that I really haven't seen from a college receiver in a very, very long time. So I look at Javon Baker and I've seen his tape in Atlanta. His release was just amazing. He was very, very strong at the point of attack. And you can tell the coaching is obviously there. I've heard he worked with guys like Calvin Ridley. So obviously that experience, I'm hearing it's translating over to his camp. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm very excited for Javon Baker.
Yeah, and you're looking at clips of him right now on our YouTube channel, and this is Javon Baker, and we don't have too much footage of him right now, but we hear him absolutely tearing it up. Looks like one of the top receivers at Alabama, no surprise, certainly the best of the freshmen. And I think you're right when you look at his release, his hands, and this is a guy who has that alpha mentality. Sometimes wide receivers are prima donnas, come in, but this guy wants to work. This guy, savages want to compete against savages, and when I saw him at this Rivals camp, I was blown away. I was like, who is that guy? And Bone was like, that's Javon Baker. And I couldn't believe it. This guy is certainly going to play high expectations, obviously, for all of these guys. But Javon Baker looking like the truth coming in.
Yeah, man, I'm extremely excited for him. Last thing I wanted to talk about was the secondary at the outside cornerback positions. I know obviously it's a battle right now, but what do you think so far between the competition between Ronald Williams, Josh Jobe, and the rest of the guys in that secondary?
I think, my questions are still there, and they're going to be there until the start of the season. Patrick Surtain returns with a lot of experience. You also have Josh Jobe, so it looks like those guys are going to be your corners. For the star position, I think you're probably going to have maybe Brian Branch, Ronald Williams, Jalen Armour Davis. I think when you look at position battles, that's certainly taking place right now. As I just mentioned earlier on the show, I've heard really good things about Brian Branch. He looks like he's a guy who could get a lot of playing time this year. At the safety position, you have Jordan Battle. You have Daniel Wright. Those two guys bring, a lot of experience. I know Daniel Wright didn't start last year, but I think he's played in like 23 games or something like that. And Jordan Battle saw a lot of time as a freshman. So it's an unproven secondary. Our team writer, Tony Sukalis, wrote an article about this today, but it's a very good secondary. And as I said earlier on the show, you got Charles Kelly, Carl Scott, and Nick Saban working with those defensive backs and the secondary unit. So I think they're going to be fine, but they're untested right now, and they have to grow up, and they have to grow up soon because when you have Lane Kiffin on that schedule, you know how sneaky he's going to be in week 3, especially going against Texas A&M and Georgia. I mean, that's an interesting front 4 schedule.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really want to see, number one is communication. I mean, even last year we had a very experienced secondary. It seemed like with the absence of Dylan Moses that we weren't as vocal, and we were very confused in the secondary as far as communication goes. But I want to see us get better in the run department. Xavier McKinney was the best run defender in the secondary, but everybody else was kind of it was mediocre. I mean, these guys couldn't really tackle that well in the open field. There was a lot of arm tackling. So I want to get us back to those basics of those fundamentals of getting better in the run department. We're a lot bigger than we were last year as far as the secondary. So that's one of the things that I'm happy about. But I want us to definitely work on that run department game because again, we got a difficult schedule. It's not easy at all. And a lot of these guys will definitely break away if we're going to try to arm tackle a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm showing right now Saban working with the defensive secondary, and this is actually B-roll from last year, but I bring it up and I saved it because I think it illustrates just how much that Saban wants to improve on tackling. It's Saban's defense. I know Pete Golding is certainly the defensive coordinator, but Saban's a defensive guy, and it all comes down to tackling. And there were some games, like you said, arm tackling isn't going to cut it in the SEC, especially 11 games in a row in the SEC. You got to tackle. You got to bring it every single week. I know you look at that Missouri game, and Alabama fans probably have that already as a W, but, SEC teams bring it regardless of where you're at. I have Alabama probably as a 4-touchdown favorite, so I'm probably providing a little bit of early season rat poison. But I believe in this team. I think this team is going to be fine just because of the firepower and offense, and we'll have to see. But please hit that thumbs up right now, everybody. We really appreciate it. Jarek, anything else, man? We got you on?
I guess I can say this last thing is that, I do agree with you that I'm very confident in this Alabama team. There are some question marks all across the board, but like I said earlier, it's the fresh bodies. It's that rotation. I feel like we're gonna be a lot fresher this year compared to previous other years where we've been manhandled by injuries. Now I'm gonna knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood right now because I'm hoping that none of our players get hurt so far. We're doing great so far in training camp, but I love the amount of players that are coming back that were freshmen last year or redshirt freshmen, sophomores. These guys are coming back, and these guys know the playbook. Pete Golden's back. No one really talks about how important the return of our coaching staff is. That's very important. I mean, I can't remember a year. Maybe I think you're going to have to go all the way back to like 2015, the last time that we have this much, coaches returning back for another year. So I think that's very, very important as far as player development goes. So I'm very excited with the amount of fresh bodies that we have. And, obviously we're working hard. We're trying to get back to that Bama factory, but I'm extremely confident this year, especially on our defensive side. And if we can get it together, then we're definitely going to make a deep run this year.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jarek. Well, it's always great to hear from you. Thank you so much for calling in. I always got a place for you, Jarek. Be safe up in Buffalo. Good luck to your Bills. I know you're part of the Bills Mafia, so I'll be eager as we move forward to hear more about your Buffalo Bills. You can call and give me the skinny as we usually do, but take care and have a blessed rest of your week. All right, buddy?
All right, you too, Kyle. Have a good day, man.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Jarek from Buffalo. Always great to have some dialogue with Jarek. I'll take one more call and then I'll call it a night. But it's been fun and get used to the shows. I know I've been trying to find a rhythm to come on every Wednesday. I'm trying to figure out, the best times to come on. I used to actually do the show at 10 a.m. And then we got a really big following from Hawaii and they weren't up because of, the time difference. I'm here in Tuscaloosa. So I had to adjust. And then I found out that the time worked best in the evening time. So that was funny. And, to all my Hawaiian fans out there, still appreciate everything that you guys did, when, Tua was here and just, how hospitable you guys were. I mean, I can't wait to go to the islands just to say thank you so much. So I'll take one more call and I will definitely head out and I will catch you tomorrow. We got tons of coverage on BatmanInsider.com right now. So much coverage. It's I love it though. I don't look at this as a job because this is probably something that I would do besides that. And if you're new to this, I'll give you some quick backstory on myself, just so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. I grew up in New Mexico. I grew up in Santa Fe. New Mexico, if you've ever been there, it's so beautiful. I miss the West, but I love, living in the Southeast. I started working for the Nike football training camps out in Los Angeles, lived in Redondo Beach for a while. Then I moved to Washington, D.C., and I lived up on Capitol Hill. Used to wear, maybe that's why I like the suit and the tie, right? I lived up there for a while, worked in Capitol Hill, worked for a congressman. I love DC, such a beautiful area, and I really miss living up there. Went to school in Central College in Pella, Iowa, just south of Des Moines, if you've ever been up to the Midwest, and in the winters were freezing. Also went to school in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and now living here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, almost going on 5 years. And it's been amazing to live in Tuscaloosa and to get to really be a part of SEC country, to understand the pageantry of college football that exists down here, because I think living in the West, I didn't really understand the grasp, just how big and how prevalent football was in the South. And now to be down here and, Southern hospitality is not to be overstated. I mean, it's so beautiful. And I met some really amazing people, which I'm really grateful for. So thank you so much. And I am just so pleased that you guys would join me to spend, an hour with me tonight. I know everyone has families and jobs and all that. And it's good just to have an hour to get back to some normalcy, I think, because this year has been difficult for a lot of people. I've known people that have lost their job or have faced tough times, but I think, we can rise up from this. And I'm also optimistic that leaders will rise from this. And, I think we'll get back on track. So it's really good to have some normalcy and to have some dialogue with you tonight. I look forward to taking your calls in the future and to just catching up with you guys every Wednesday and Tuesday night. Definitely check out Andrew's show. He does such a great job. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me tonight. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. Let's be productive. Let's be good people. As I always say, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is Kyle Henderson. Catch all the coverage back on BamaInsider.com. I'll talk to you guys soon. Good night.